Hello everybody. We want to talk today about how you're going to hunt, and this is another part of how to hunt with a longbow in the South. Now we're talking about deer hunting, and and when I say how you're going to hunt, are you going to hunt off the ground, or are you going to hunt in a tree stand? And if you're whichever one of those or both that you decide to do, you got to get geared up for it. And so I would recommend for a beginner, just number one for me, if you choose a tree stand, safety is the top of the line. I mean, that's where you begin your thought process right there. And I've used lock-ons with woodpecker drills way back in the day. And it's illegal. I think it's illegal to drill holes in trees on management areas, so you kind of have to get away from that if you're hunting management areas like that. At the time, I didn't know it when I was using them, and I mostly drill trash trees anyway, and never a pine. So and you can do some research on the woodpecker drill if you want to, and I should have brought one out here to show you, but that's not the route that I would tell you to go, because there's a whole lot of work in it. But they have you can get a lock-on with 3 sticks, 3 of the little short climbing sticks, and they work exceptionally well. And that's what I used a lot, the last few years. And you can climb any kind of tree. If it's limby, you have to do very little pruning to get up in the tree. And there again, safety first. You hooked up to the tree from the ground up, and lock-ons are a good choice, and you can get some really good comfortable ones, and you can get some, the whole rig is not very heavy. And also I've used a climber. Probably most of the time I use the climber, a tree climber. I used, the only thing about the tree climber, it limits. So many times you'll find a perfect feed tree that you want to hunt, something that's on fire, and there won't be a good tree to climb with a tree climber anywhere within shot distance of it. And that's where the lock-on with the tree sticks comes in, because usually there'll be something that might be crooked, or one that's huge at the base, and you can go up it narrows up at the top, or a real limby tree. So it sometimes does better, but overall, most of the time a climber will work for you. And if you're on a budget like myself and you're only going to have one, I would probably lean towards getting a climber. They're safe. There again, you hook up to the tree with a safety harness from the ground up. And I used, my favorite climber was, they don't make them anymore, but I used to use an old Tomcat too. And they made them local here in Lyons, Georgia. Not, like an hour from the house, but I've had a couple of them. And then as I got bigger and fatter, I didn't feel comfortable in them. So I bought a Summit. The Summit Open Shot is a fine climber, tree climber for the bow hunter. It's open in the front, so if you're looking for a good climber, I would look at one of those. And they're good climbers, but I'm not climbing trees anymore. I do have, take that back, I do have a couple ladder stands, and I have a very limited piece of private land I can hunt. And usually I have funnels that I'll put I actually got a lock-on from last year that I almost fell out of, and it's still hanging on the tree down there in the swamp. But I'll put those ladder stands in those funnels, and I'm gonna use, I forget what they call it, there's a rope that goes from the ground up. I'll hitch onto it and go up like that. And I'm up and down ladders all the time, and so the ladder stand is a really safe thing for me to get up the tree. And I have nothing against hunting out of trees. Just climbing the tree is what I don't like, because I have fell once and I didn't get hurt. I was pretty tough back then. I actually fell twice. I fell once from up about, pretty high up there, and it didn't hurt me. I was young and bouncy. The next time I fell, I was getting into a stand that was up pretty high, and it slid, and I fell on my ribs. And I bruised up some ribs, and then I almost fell last year, and that winged me. I'm through with the tree climbers. And I was a lock-on, I almost fell out of climbing into it. But I had the safety stuff and all that, but I don't want to do it no more. And I promised Miss Tammy I wouldn't climb a tree again, but she's good with the ladder stand, so I'll be hunting out of a ladder stand a little bit. But you know, whatever you decide, safety, I can't stress that enough. Safety is all the way. Now, I don't know anything about the tree saddles. A lot of people are going towards that tree saddle. My buddy James uses a saddle and just one climbing stick. And he actually showed me, we were hunting together for a little while. You know, we had a little group hunt that we'd been doing for 20-something years. And James come out there for the first time. And he showed me his rig, and he climbed up a tree right there in camp with his harness and all that. And that's a pretty cool deal. And you know, that may be a route you want to go. There's tons of that stuff to look into, and you can watch videos. I think my buddy James Loper uses one of those saddles as well. And I'm talking about the bow hunt out of too. And these guys, both of them shoot longbows. James Woods, he shoots a self bow that's, I don't know how long it is. I bet it's 64 inches. So, and he's a killer, so it works for him. So that might be the route you want to go. And it's light, and it'll get you up, you know, any kind of tree pretty much as well. He climbed a pine that he was having to throw his rope around it. It was that big around, and he was up that joker in just a matter of minutes. So you got to think about how you're going to hunt, and we're talking about the tree part of it now. And so there's you know, some good options and some things to look at. If I were a young man and thinking about hunting from a tree, I honestly would probably look at those saddles. I would. They're light, and for the kind of hunting that I'll do and have done in the past, miles from the truck, less stuff to carry, and choices of trees are more broad. You can get up most anything. I'd really look into that tree saddle business. I think that would be the way to go. And like anything, it'd take you some time to get the bugs out of it. And I know nothing about them. I just know friends that use them and speak highly of that. And you're tied to the tree the whole time. You can't fall out because you are tied to the tree. And so, you know, that's, I'll say you can't fall out. You can if you probably do something that's just not right and take a shortcut. But if you do like you're supposed to and like them things are designed, I'm thinking you'll be all right. So that would be an option that I would look into. And now if we're talking about ground hunting, down here in the South, number one, I would, you got to have a comfortable chair. You can spend a lot of money. I'm sitting in a Walmart chair, cost somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 bucks. It's been spray painted, and I've killed deer out of this chair. I got it here in the woods here by my house that I shoot my bow out of and fish out of it in the pond. But I got, I mean, this is all you got to have. And you can rig it up to tote it, have you a strap on it, or you can buy you a half a dozen of them, you know, pretty cheap. Paint them up and have them in different locations, or carry them around with you and hide them in the woods. Or I've used a lot of the little folding chairs and camp chairs and things like that. They don't work so well. So if I was going to use a cheaper chair, it would be one of these little Walmart folding chairs right here. That's what it would be. So, and I mean, you don't have no money in them, and you can go from there with what you want. But you'll need you hunting on the ground, deer, southern deer. These yuckers are sharp, and you won't hardly get away with what I mean. Shots we're shooting for 15 yards or less is my goal, and so I use a ghillie suit called a kill suit. And I've killed, it's kind of new to me. I've only had it a few years, couple years, but I have killed deer out of it using that suit. So, I mean, it works good. And I had a mature buck last year. I had a mature buck at 3 yards that came on my offside. I could have touched him with my bow just like that. A mature buck. He come behind me. I didn't kill him. He come on my wrong side and got out and caught my wind out there. But them things work, and you talking about heart pounding, my heart was pounding. But if you buy those burlappy type ghillie suits, it's just too hot for them down here. Even as you get into October and all, I mean, it can be hot. And those things, they'll get a smell to them too. But I know some guys who's used them, and they would bury them in the dirt for a few days, take them out and not wash them, just shake all the dirt out of them, and they would use them, and it really, you know, it took the scent out of them. But and I did that with my kill suit. I laid it on the ground and threw dirt on top of it and let it sit, but I wash it in baking soda after that. But you need you can Google the kill suit and if you get one, don't get the pants and the jacket. I mean pants and shirt. Get what's called the long coat, and it goes down past your knees. It drapes around your knees. But and something on your head. I think a deer, you can have all that stuff on, and if you don't have something bushy around your head, he'll pick you out. So, you know, and make sure you can shoot your bow. I cut the sleeve off of mine on my left arm and trim up some stuff in my chest here. But you know, you get you one of them or whatever you're going to use. Make sure you can shoot your bow. I've actually killed deer before using just them little old leafy suits that you buy at Bass Pro. And I've killed a turkey gobbler like that with one of those off the ground and with no blind or anything, and he looked right at me several times. So you could go that route. The kill suit is only like $70, that long coat. That's not that bad. So, but there you go. If you're going to hunt off the ground, you got to have something comfortable to set in. Movement is key. You can't be moving around all over the place. You got to really pay attention, because if you mess around and don't see a deer until he's past you, there ain't gonna be no moving to shoot him over here. Where if you're in the tree stand, if something happens and you're sitting there playing on your phone and the deer walks past you and then you say, oh, there's a deer, you can stand up and turn and shoot him over here. So for a beginner, I'll go ahead and tell you, hunting off the ground is gonna be tough, even for somebody been doing it a long time. The tree stand has its advantages, it truly does, and but the ground hunting can be done as well. I tend to ground hunt. I've leaned towards that simply because it's less work and it's safer. And falling, I mean, I was hating toting tree stands the last few years before I almost fell, and so and that just flipped the switch and said it's over. I'm done with the tree stands. But it's less work, and I can get at most. Even probably the last 5 years, every time I would go scouting and I would pick a feed tree out that's on fire, you pick a tree to climb, but I would look, or even when I was sitting there, I could look and find places that would have worked for ground hunting. And the reason I've killed a lot of deer from the ground, usually at least one a year, and I don't hardly ground hunt much, or I didn't. But I had a lot of really close calls. Once I committed, I killed last deer I killed last year. I killed in October out of a tree stand, and then I ground hunted from there going forward. And I don't know, I bet 10 times I had deer under 20 yards and managed to mess it up doing stupid stuff. And sometimes it just don't work, like the buck came by on that side there. But I missed 2 and didn't shoot low enough, and I was just uncontrollably excited. And that's why I do this, because I love to hunt. So there you go. You gotta, if you're gonna hunt deer, you gotta hunt from the ground or from the tree. And so choose which one of those you want and really dig into it. Do some research. Just a recap for climbers, I really like that Summit open shot, but I'm sure there are plenty of others out there that are probably just as good. But I'm just telling you what I've used and I'm familiar with. And I like I use a Lone Wolf and 3 sticks. I had both versions. I had the bigger size Lone Wolf, I don't know the names of them, and then I had the smaller size one. The smaller size one is the one that I run and gun with. The bigger one is one I'd put in a funnel, and this is the one sitting in a funnel down there now. I got to get somebody to go down there and get it. I thought I'm gonna get my cousin to go down there and get it, I hope. But I had 2 of them. They did get one for me. But anyway, get quality, don't skimp. Don't buy something cheap. You spend some money and get something safe, because your life does depend on it. And if you're gonna go to ground version, I use the wall drop pack seat. I have both versions of them, and I hadn't hunted with the turkey version yet, but I have practiced with it, and I think it's the one I'm gonna hunt with the most, simply because it sits lower to the ground. You can ground hunting, you can sit too high, and it gets you got to think a deer's not at your height looking at you. He's down below. A mature deer ain't very tall. And if you're setting up very high, you're kind of skylined, whether you think about it or not. You realize it or not. But if you're setting down low, it kind of tucks you in, and you get away with more being lower, I believe. So, and I'll use it more than the other one, I would think. And but I'll probably use the other one, like if I'm in hunting some thick stuff like this, some palmettos, I may have to set a little bit higher just to be able to get a shot through it. So I have both of those, and those are a really good choice. They're a little bit expensive, but there again, I'm telling you, just like the Treestand, and this not so much from a safety point of view, just from a quality and the usability point of view, the Waldrop pack seat is hard to beat. For running, gun hunting, for walking and covering ground, I can tote that turkey seat with my pack for, I mean, I toted the other one for like miles upon miles and don't even realize you got it on your back, really. And the same thing with the turkey seat will be even less weight. So y'all keep the good Lord first, and put some thought into how you're gonna hunt. And just like your bow, don't go buy a climber and then go hunting 2 days later. Go ahead and get your climber or whatever you're gonna use, your ghillie suit, your pack seat, or your Walmart chair. Go ahead and get them painted to where the smells off of them, and get practice up. Shoot your bow. It all boils down to that about 2-second time of there's the deer, you draw your bow and you shoot. But you would be surprised at what can go wrong in them 2 seconds. And the equipment part of it don't need to be what goes wrong. You need to go ahead and get all that worked out right now. That's why this is like the 2nd week of July. Excuse me. And we're getting tuned down right now. So if you're following this series along now, we've done got our bow, we done got all the stuff, got it shooting. We got arrows tuned, we got broadheads. We've picked up a few things that we gotta have, knives and coolers and all this sort of thing. And then probably the next video or two, we're gonna fill our pack up with the stuff that we gotta have going to the woods. But anyway, now we're looking at getting our stands or either our seats or our pack seat, our ghillie suit, all that stuff, getting all that lined up. And so it ain't, like I said, it won't be long. We'll get started walking, hunting hogs and scouting for where we're gonna put all this deer hunting stuff to use at. So y'all keep the good Lord first, and thank y'all for watching my videos. And remember that if you truly want to enjoy life, if you want to enjoy the great outdoors, you can only do it if you seeking God first, and you draw close to God, and then you truly start seeing the blessings that God's gifted you to. I mean, this is the blessing just to sit out here this morning, listening to the bugs, a slight breeze, and talk about bow hunting. God is good. See y'all on the next one.